This is Hannibal from thehannibaltv.com, and this is my weekly review of only the points I find interesting in Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a lot of it that I did not find interesting this week, but there was a lot that I did. So let's jump into it. Sad news to start off. Apparently, Afa, the wild Samoan WWE Hall of Famer, who I'm friends with his son, Afa Jr., and as well as Lloyd. And he's apparently fighting for his life right now. He's had numerous health issues. He's had a bunch of surgeries in recent years. And apparently it's extremely serious right now. We just lost Sika, his longtime Wild Samoan tag team partner, Roman Reigns' father, just a month or two ago, seemingly. So I wish him the best. He's definitely tough, and if anyone can pull through it, he can. But from what I've seen from some of the family's posts, there's some talk that he might be making the transition, starting the transition to the other side. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I wish everyone from that family the best. Steve Austin says he hopes to be in Las Vegas this year related to WrestleMania. He said that in a recent interview. He said there was talks about him being in Philadelphia. He had a history there, but it didn't work out. But he hopes to be there this year. I was going through some information about Austin recently, and I think I might have a bit of a reason why they didn't announce his match at WrestleMania in Texas a few years ago. Why they said it would just be an interview and then made it a match rather than promote that he was having a match. I think I have a very good inkling of why they did that, and I believe there's more to it than he just didn't want to have expectations too high. I believe there's more to it than that. I'm not going to say my theory on it, but after figuring out some of the stuff that I've found out recently, I can see why they didn't want to advertise him as in one of the main matches where an interview is something that can be removed without much hoopla. SmackDown in Berlin coming up before the big Bash at Berlin pay-per-view has 11,407 tickets out, which hasn't moved really at all since last week, but there was a typo last week where it was 1,400. This week, there's no typo. 11,407. The pay-per-view itself, which I think might be the first WWE pay-per-view ever from Germany, only has 11,968 tickets out. It is a building that could hold over 17,000. They're going to say it's sold out no matter what, because what companies do these days is just put curtains over the seats that aren't sold and say, well, we've sold out for our setup. That's the trick they use. Just like Madison Square Garden, sometimes these days they'll say it's sold out at 12,000-ish, sometimes even less. Billy Graham's day, it was 21,000-ish. But they didn't do the trick of, we'll just put curtains over the unsold seats and say it's sold out. They were more legitimate in the past, but I mean, it works. Most of the people don't know about that trick. Apparently, as far as the WWE, my microphone randomly muted there. For the WWE tag. Sorry, guys, this is frustrating. This is supposed to be the top of the line microphone, and it keeps muting. I'm going to hold it here. For the WWE tag team title situation, apparently the Bloodline are now tag team champions, which is going to be any combination of the Bloodline. It's not necessarily the people that won it. The WWE next video game will be released in March 2025. Seth Rollins is taking time off to deal with some interviews. John, I think NXT likes him. At first, I thought his gimmick was cool, but I mean, it wears off pretty quick. But nothing against him. I think he will be signed to a WWE contract. Yeah, it looks good, and it's supposed to be top of the line, but it keeps cutting out. That's freaking annoying. May have to take it back. Dwayne Johnson announced a new movie project with Disney called Monster Jam. It's going to be about monster trucks. Shawn Michaels, speaking of Joe Henry, was talking about saying it's a great relationship. It's in its early stages. One of the reasons they're doing this is because they're doing less NXT house shows, because the NXT house shows were pretty much a money loser from what I understand overall. So it's cheaper for them to send people to TNA to perform from NXT than actually do house shows. They're still doing house shows, but it's a way of getting their talent more experience. They're doing it with Pro Wrestling Noah too. And as far as the exchange, Endeavor's platform also streams TNA. So there's actually a vested interest in it. And for TNA, it's pretty much a dead product. Pretty much a dead product until WWE started boosting it. So it's good for TNA. SmackDown, the pre-sale for Edmonton is 9,338 for September 6th. Raw in Calgary, September 9th, 7,800. So Edmonton, definitely a better wrestling city than Calgary at this point. SmackDown last week in Tulsa, 10,686. Raw in Austin on Monday, 12,269. Dynamite in Cardiff, Wales next week. The go home to All In doesn't have that many tickets sold, only 3,800 for their very first show in Wales. Apparently, the Dynamite before All Out in Chicago, which is happening August 28th in Champaign, Illinois, which is the Chicago market, only has 1,005 tickets out for the tapings. 1,005. And looking at the pre-sales for most upcoming AEW tapings, they seem to be hovering around between 1,000 and 1,500 overall. Dynamite and Collision being taped at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York. Yes, they're claiming this upcoming Texas Stadium will be their first stadium show, but they are going to Arthur Ashe Stadium next month. 3,548 tickets out, which is terrible for a stadium show. Apparently, according to Dave Meltzer, the locker room is concerned about AEW's attendance and popularity right now. AEW Collision last week in Arlington, Texas, 1,180 tickets were sold. The same night, well, technically the night after, because it was in Europe, MJF and Will Ospreay appeared at York Hall in London to just over 1,000 fans. Why they had them wrestling on an indie show instead of for Collision when there's yet to be a new TV deal announced is beyond me. They've given up on Collision and Rampage, it seems. As far as Tony Khan's recent big announcements, one of them was All In 2025 will not be in London. It's going to be at Globe Life Field in Arlington. Dave Meltzer estimates it's going to be set up for about 35,000 fans. And again, they are having severe attendance issues lately, but they're announcing a bunch of stadium shows. So there's this one. They're saying All In will be back in London in 2006. They're probably taking a year off because last year they had over 80,000. This year, as of the last time Meltzer checked, was just over 40,000 tickets. And they're hoping to get 50,000 in there, which is still great, but it's not 80,000 plus. Apparently, AEW is partnering with TEG in Australia for a show in either Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane. WWE has had a lot of success in that market, not running it frequently. Hogan and Ric Flair did a tour there with Bischoff in 2009 that featured my good pal Lacey Von Erich, that drew 6,000 in 3 major arenas and 2,500 in another, and lost a lot of money. So it's not like, I mean, Hulk Hogan's is, I would say, was a bigger name in 2009 than anyone is in AEW in 2023. To be honest, I would say that's true. Honestly, that's true. AEW or Hulk Hogan in 2009 was still a bigger name than anyone in AEW in 2023. I'll stand by that statement. And they didn't draw great. They're also planning a Tokyo Dome show next year. So that's bizarre that they're like drawing worse than ever, but they believe that announcing stadium shows is suddenly going to help them. I don't know. Sign Goldberg. I'd be excited about that, or bring in Vince or Shane McMahon. I think that could be a real possibility. Joe says, RIP Taskmaster. There was a note about the Taskmaster in the Observer. He was actually 75 when he died. He was not 74. Apparently, he was telling everyone for years he was a year younger. Don't ask me why. He fibbed about a lot of stuff. 100% he fibbed about a lot of stuff. But good guy overall. New Japan, their G1 tournament, which I don't understand why people are excited about a tournament that that's non-shoot. I've never been interested in tournaments. Overall, their August 10th show in Sendai, 2,600. August 12th in Aurora, Nagota, 3,022. That was their best attendance. August 14th in Hamatsu, 1,600. August 15th, it was the playoffs in Shiba Makuri Messe, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, 1,100. So New Japan not getting great numbers. Apparently Antonio Inoki's grandson is now training to be a wrestler. That might help out the Japanese wrestling, which is lower popularity than it's ever been. The U.S. men's freestyle team did not win a gold medal in wrestling for the first time since 1968. They probably would have won one had Gable Steveson been allowed to wrestle, but WWE did not allow him to do the Olympic trials while he was signed, and released him about 3 weeks after the Olympic trials, so he couldn't go and win the Olympic trials and win the Olympics and then go to AEW or somewhere else. For some reason, to me, I mean, for the amount they've paid him for doing virtually nothing, I would have at least kept him under contract through the Olympics and had a WWE contracted wrestler win the Olympics wrestling for the first time. But I'm sure there's more to the story than that. Of course, Gable is now with the Buffalo Bills, which is the closest NFL team to Ottawa, Canada. So that's good. But by the way, I'm more of I'm a Dallas fan. Apparently, as far as UFC goes, Dana White is saying Conor McGregor is not going to be fighting in 2024. Again, I would not recommend this microphone to people. It keeps dislodging. Sorry about that. Yeah, Dana White is saying McGregor is not going to fight in 2024. Jake Paul says he wants to make the next Olympics in boxing. I don't see why he couldn't. he could be better funded than anybody, any amateur boxer, and have access to the best coaches. Plus, he's already been a pro. I mean, I know he's handpicking his opponents, but still, it used to be you couldn't go back into amateur after you've been pro. Apparently, now you can. I don't see why not. I don't see any reason why not. So there you go. Joseph, they don't do the paper observer anymore. They do not do it. They stopped it. How much is it? I think it's around $15 or so a month. Not quite positive because the charges come off automatically. And as I said, there's a lot more that I did not find interesting at all in the Observer this year or this week. So get it yourself if you're interested. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Was there more to why they never advertised Steve Austin's match against Kevin Owens at WrestleMania a few years ago? Was there more to it? Was there a reason they didn't want to advertise it in advance? I truly believe so. Someone says other countries send pros, so why not the US? I'm not saying I didn't know. I'll be honest, I didn't. The only Olympics I watched was when it was on at the gym, and my favorite one was watching the Brazilian doubles beach volleyball. Gorgeous, beautiful women. I don't really. I saw some breakdancing. I saw some judo, but I really wasn't following the Olympics closely. I do think it's sad that the U.S., which has always been a powerhouse in wrestling, didn't win any men's medals though. Because I've idolized so many men's wrestlers over the years as a former national level amateur wrestling. Yeah, the Olympics has become a joke. I mean, all the hoopla over the boxing stuff. I mean, when it gets too complicated to understand, I give up. I throw in the towel on that. Beach volleyball is the only thing that Joseph wanted to watch either. One thing I will say was weird. Why did the Canadian women wear like loose fitting short? Maybe it was the women's choice or maybe Canada's choice, but it's strange. I mean, they were good looking women. It's strange that some countries go with the thong and some go with loose shorts. I mean, it's strange. I mean, I'm all for pro-choice, but I mean, if you're that fit and you're an athlete, why wouldn't you want to show off? But again, Brazil did a phenomenal job of looking amazing while playing volleyball. So thumbs up to Brazil. I hope to go there one day. Has a great combat sports history in that country as well, and a great UFO history. Cheers. Hope everyone has a great night. Give this video a thumbs up.